Hey, welcome to Old Blokes Love Sneakers Too, episode 9 of season 4. It's Paul here. Today I'm joined by Luke and Joel. We're doing a bit of a special. We're doing the Last Dance review. It's a nice long one, so settle in. We do it in a bit of a segment fashion. So our first segment, we look at all the Jordans worn by Michael Jordan himself during the finals. Segment 2, I look at some of the obscure sneakers that were worn and shown in the Last Dance from other players. And we round it out with segment 3, where we look at some of the very obscure Michael Jordans. We have a bit of a debate on those. It's nice and interesting. There is no time for a rate-hate debate or any of our ordinary stuff, but that will come back next episode. Make sure you check out everything else we're doing. We've got a lot of YouTube work going on at the moment. I'm doing Spilling the Kicks daily on both Instagram Live and on YouTube. Luke is up to day 50 of Around the Sneaker in 130 days, so he's getting there. And we keep promising that Joel will have some new stuff up. I promise it's coming soon. We've just got it in the cutting room at the moment. Check us all out. Instagram, we're still there, and Twitter, we're starting to get a bit more active. Hope you enjoy the episode. Hey, welcome to Old Blokes Love Sneakers Too. We're on to episode 9. We've got our originals back, so we're doing a bit of a special today. Hello, Joel. How are you, mate?
Hey, Paulie. How you going?
Well, mate, how are you?
Yeah, going well.
Good, good. You all pumped up for today?
I am, mate. This is a special one. A little bit different.
A little bit for us. Hey, hello, Luke. How are you, mate?
Long time no see.
Been like 4 hours.
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Good to see. You still got the same moo on? I saw you this morning. Good.
I've had a shirtless tank top last few episodes, and the viewers have started to write in. Can't wash the shoes. We're too busy with the host. We'll get those pythons off. So I've decided to dress more appropriately.
But for the viewers or for yourself, for your COVID-19 body, as you called it today?
I sweat when I talk. So yeah, we're just going to have to roll with that for a while.
All right. So as I mentioned, today we're doing a bit of a special. We talked about it last episode. We're going to do a Last Dance special. Before we start, we want to do an intro because I know we're always on the shoe hunt. Lukey, have you been getting any shoes this week? I think you have.
Yeah, I have actually, but I think I can't even remember where we got to last week. I've done so much different content. There's so much different things. So we went through some stuff. But for the regular podcast, I think what we can actually just talk about is yet another pair of Phantom Reacts. No, that's not true. They're not Phantom Reacts. They're
No, they're not.
They're something else. They're these. Phantom Reacts are laceless. These are not laceless. These are React something. Where's the box? Regardless, that's what they are. For the viewers, the listeners, I should say, they're like the one piece Flynet with the purple uppers, and I am going to find the name of them. It's around here somewhere.
We have to get you outside, mate. You're all over the place tonight.
Yeah. No, well, you can see. I mean, I don't know. The guys, everyone's been keeping up to date with the daily videos, and of course,
Definitely.
the drinking thing that you do on Instagram. What's it called?
Spilling the
Kicks.
Spilling the Kicks. I love the logo. It's fantastic. Anyway, and from there you can see, like, no joke, there has never, ever, ever in the history of time been more boxes come in to the household than there has in a week. Not underestimating, we've seen 25 boxes come through, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm a little sketchy on the details at this point.
Need a whiteboard. You need a whiteboard, don't need Joel. Need a whiteboard.
A digital whiteboard, or we need some, look at those joyrides by themselves on the box.
All right.
Come ride the joyride, Jolie.
Roxette inspired joyrides.
That's it.
We've seen those a bit today.
Yeah,
They've been all over town. You can't
they're
beat the comfort.
Hey, Joel, how'd you go with your block fighting this week, mate?
I haven't got any. I haven't been in any bot fights actually, but I don't know where the last update was. I think I was talking about some shoes that I've got on order from Dead Stock, and they're coming at the end of the year. And that was probably the last.
They're coming. You think?
Well, I think they're coming. Who knows?
The pyramid scheme.
Either that, or someone in Uzbekistan is enjoying my money and starting up their new pyramid scheme.
Someone is quickly building those. All
Yeah,
right.
that's right. But I've got 5 pairs of shoes on order. Two pairs that will arrive pretty soon. So I managed to get the Jordan 6 DMPs.
Yes,
Where'd you get them from?
5. From Foot Locker, buddy. Foot Locker in the States.
Yeah. 1
pair of size 11s left.
With what? Did you just log on and they were just a general release and they were sitting there?
I follow this Twitter site, and he said, "Have a look. There's 1 pair left, or there's 1 size left." And I jumped on and I had a look, and it was late at night, so I didn't have to check in with my wife, and just went for it.
How much, with all the conversion and everything, how much do you expect them to cost by the time they get here?
They're about $400.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Sure. What else, Joel?
I also ordered the metallic purple, the Jordan 4 metallic purple, which is about the only one you can get at any kind of reasonable price, right? There's a red one, and there's a green one, and there's an orange one, but I think the red one's reselling for about $3,000 already on Go, and it's exactly the same shoe as the purple one.
So here's a good example. So you know those ones I showed you today, Luke? So in Spilling the Kicks, I showed a pair of Jordan 1s for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. I went and had a look at those because someone pinged me, said, "Hey, I want a pair." They're fully sold out everywhere, and they're actually retailing someplace at $400 or $500. And I picked them up for $140. Same design, but the red and blue colorway is like $120 Aussie. It's just ridiculous. It's just. That's what I said to him. I said, "Go get the green," and there's even the green, which I like as well. I said, "Go get the dark green. You get them for $140." It's just ridiculous. It's just.
It doesn't. It beggars belief. It's like why, like an M&M pair of 4s.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So these metallics, the way they're distributing them, it's all regional based. So they've got limited stock of the red ones, and of course everyone wants the red because it's got reference to
it's an old
Jordan, whereas the others don't. But they're also limiting the release, I think, to the East Coast or something like that. So there's many less of those available, whereas the purple ones are a full-size run general release.
Well, that's not bad. That's like maybe we just all go get a pair of Ben & Jerry's. What do you reckon, SPs?
Yeah.
Oh,
that'll be cheap.
When did they release? Was it last night or?
No, they've been dropping over the last couple of days. They haven't had one drop. A few people got postponed and that, but then there was that. The reason why I mentioned those is that dickhead that we saw deciding he was going to put ice cream in them and eat out of them that I just thought was just fucking pathetic. That's just.
It's easy.
I get you trying to flex and say how great you are, but that's just. Stupid, right?
That's right. Yeah, you regretted it instantly.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, because the ice cream's not really that good, and it tastes terrible out of a worn shoe, right?
Yeah.
My wife, we eat a lot of ice cream in the house, and she said last night that, and she doesn't have any, she was not influenced by the sneakers at all because we've been online. We tried to get the Brazils. We tried to get everything. We're trying to get everything. And she just said, just out of the blue, she said, "Do you know what's really shit is Ben & Jerry's?" And I said, "Yep." Back when I had the opportunity, I had an unlimited supply of Cherry Garcia. It was favored on board. It's the business class ice cream. And I ate however much I wanted. Give me something else. Give me some Haagen-Dazs, some Movenpick. Give me something to dance to, Ben & Jerry.
There's plenty out there, right? I think it's perception, but we could talk about that forever. It's like a shoe game. We just, the perception of Ben & Jerry's is it's cool and it's great. Yeah, you get to pay 3 times the amount. So, hey, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Hey, we could talk all day about ice cream and shoes, couldn't we? Let's move on. So we've got a pretty exciting segment, but a show for you today. We're going to look at The Last Dance in a bit of detail. So what we've done is we're going to do 3 different segments. We're going to talk about Jordan's final shoes, so the
7 odd pairs that he wore in the 6 NBA Finals games. Got some interesting facts about those. Then we're going to talk about some of the more obvious ones that I picked up, and I've asked the guys to sort of comment on for some other players. And then we're going to finish with, I've got 4 different pairs of Jordans that I think are really unique. We'll talk about those, and then the boys will bring in some other stuff. And then I want to finish with an interesting rate, hate, and debate. So we'll finish that way. All right. So, hey, segment 1 is final shoes. Let's go in chronological order. What we'll do is, boys, we'll bring one up. I'll ask you guys to have a chat about it. This is pretty easy for us. It starts at a Jordan 6 and goes from there. So, first final season, obviously, was the Bulls and the Lakers. We'll bring up the first one. All right. Joel, why don't you kick us off, my friend?
So these are, for me, one of the most iconic Tinker Hatfield designs. First chip.
Let's go.
First chip. And so back at these seasons, what I reckon one of the most interesting things is Jordan used to release the new shoe at the All-Star game.
Yep.
So he was wearing the 5s up until the All-Star game. He'd drop into these. Everyone would go nuts, head out to Foot Locker, camp out midweek in the queues to get the shoes. And these ones, this is where he did the big switch from I'm going to dunk it with the right hand to I'm going to lay it up with the left hand when he saw the long arm of Sam Perkins coming at him. This is for me one of the most beautiful designs, and that particular color. If you're going to get any Jordan 6, you've got to get that one.
Yeah. So, Lukey, what memories do these ones bring back?
I remember it was close to being my first pair of Jordans because one of the guys I kicked around in as a, I was going to say like a 12, 13-year-old, stole them from some dude's doorstep. I regret to say. And they were a strange colorway because they were actually white with like a blue. They had a blue tongue and blue detail. So at the time, it was like super, super unique. But that glamour shot that you put up before, the thing about the 6, and we have some 6s here, the thing about the 6 that makes it so magnificent, and this is a design thing, is the way you get into the shoe with the 2 holes in the tongue and then the rear, the thing that you pull onto your heel, it's function over form, but it actually just turned out to be an epic piece of design. Like they have that, no one's done that again. It looks sensational. Like in that photo, in that colorway, the black. I guess that's the bread colorway, is it, Joel? Like I guess
that's the bread. Yeah.
Yeah. So but just knowing that they're pretty tight shoes. They're actually quite a good performance basketball shoe. As far as sorry to say, not all Jordans fall into that category. But with these shoes, they're a tight fit. They're really good. And to have that front and back ability to get in and really get a very good, tight, supportive fit and to have those functions, but just to have them turn out looking cool like a epic spoiler on a race car, I'm a huge fan. Huge fan.
Yeah, these were really nice, weren't they? So this is what we're like. I pulled up some of the originals. Obviously, they were released in 91. The original price was $125 US. I don't think you could get them for that price nowadays. I had a pair of these. I actually played in these, Lukey, back in the day. So in 92. You know what I love too is the lace tuck-in behind the Jordan, behind the Jumpman. That was one of the first ones that actually probably was the first one that ever had that. That was so cool, right? I never used the little eyelet. I never used that because I could never get it to work. So I always did them up normally and stuck them in there. And I snapped one of mine near the end of it, exactly what you're saying, pulling it on at the back, and I pulled the whole thing off because I had them on really tight. So yeah, and in those days it was like, oh shit, I've just ruined a pair of runners. Go get another pair. So I had black, and then I think I might have even had a white. I don't remember, but I definitely had the black, and these were amazing. About 5 of us in the team used to wear these. We all wore the same ones. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, right. Everyone used to have them back then.
Oh yeah, that was so.
I had the Carmines. I remember a few people around me had the black ones, but I had the red and white jigsaw puzzle looking ones, which are going to drop again this year, boys.
Oh, yes, that's right. We talked about that. That's a good, good little get.
Yeah.
All right. So, if anyone, spoiler, the Bulls beat the Lakers in that final series. If you haven't seen it, so just give you the spoiler.
And it wasn't close.
Yeah,
Only chip in 5. Almost won game 4, and then it would have been a sweep.
Yeah, almost.
Game 1, I mean.
Game 1, yeah. I remember that. I remember watching that here. That was probably one of the first ones in Australia you could actually get to watch most of the games. I remember they were on.
Yeah.
Channel 10 might have had them or something like that, but it was.
Oh, yeah, it was
free to
10.
air.
Yeah.
I remember
Steve
watching
Carfino was commentating, if I recall.
Bill Woods.
Come on.
Bill Woods and Steve Carfino.
Bill Woods.
Yeah.
Billy. We should get Billy on. All right. So next year, obviously, we go to a different one. Bulls were the Blazers in this series, 92. Lukey, would you like to describe the Jordan 7s, please?
Well, this is, without this finals, I strongly believe without this finals, his final performances, those shoes, the 3-pointers, that my existence, I'm not overrating this or overreacting in any way, shape, or form. My kids wouldn't have been born. I wouldn't live in this city. So many things hang on the back of what Michael Jordan did and his teammates in 92. It was, we watched the games. We went out. We did the things. It was truly unbelievable. The 7s, everything about it was just inspiration from start to finish. We went from, like, literally at that point, we were playing 4-5 hours of basketball a day during the week, and then even more on the weekends. We used to play till midnight. The neighbors would yell out, "Shut the fuck up with that ball!" Play in the rain, and it was all based on the, like, if I still could find the VHS from 92, it would be so worn out. You know, it's just all my friends are 40. We all went through this whole thing at exactly the same time. We're all still mates, and it is that everybody remembers it. There is no doubt about it. It's the most inspiring segment of basketball that I've ever seen. And the thing is about the Blazers, rest in peace, Duckworth is dead, Jerome Kersey's dead. I mean, that's 2 starters from that team that are no longer with us. So it's, it was a little bit, it was a closer series than it probably looks on paper. There was that Portland team were really strong, but Michael came out. It didn't seem like a big deal now. 6 threes, it's like whatever. They hit 6 in a row now.
In those days.
Back then, it was like alien-like. It's like some superpower had taken over his body, and he had the shrug, and just forget about it. The best
game over at halftime, right?
Yeah, it was over by halftime. He had that one putback dunk in the second half. That was it.
Yeah,
they finished that series in that first half, right? They really did.
Yeah.
Yeah, after that, they were just done, weren't they? They were cool. What did you think about these 7s, Joel? Did you own these?
No, I never did. I mean, all the hype had already sort of hit us the first couple of years prior to that. So for me, just hearing Lukey's story and reminiscing myself, I was in year 12 in 1991, and then again in 1992. I went back and I did a few subjects to boost up the tertiary entrance score rather than taking a year off, which turned out to be an awesome year in 92 because I was doing 3 subjects instead of 5. So in addition to the lunch break, the before school and the after school, I was out on the basketball court just working on my game. And I was playing basketball a good, 3 or 4 hours every day, 6 days a week. But we'd already got our shoes, like we'd already got them the year before, and like what we were doing in 1992 was just trashing them, mostly on asphalt courts and regretting it.
So you went back for your senior year. Is that what you were telling us?
What's that?
You didn't leave early. You went back for your senior year for a second time.
I'm still doing year 12. I mean, it's a story that just keeps going on and on and on. But I remember when the 7s came out and kind of thinking, that each shoe that had happened like the years prior was an evolution of the one before. Like you see some of the common shapes around the ankles in the 5 that kind of translated into a more angular shape in the 6. And then when I saw the 7, I thought actually it's the whole thing is just kind of gone more sleek.
Yep.
And like I don't think it's as beautiful a shoe. But I think it's a lot of exciting things happened, like not just the 1992 championship, but also the Dream Team and the Olympic colorway that happened in those shoes. And my favorite colorway in the Jordan 7 is the Bordeaux, which has got a little bit of the Barcelona Olympic inspired colorway in it.
So you're going to say the Space Jam colorway, man? That'd be your go.
The Space Jam colorway.
Yeah, I thought that
on the 11s, yeah.
Yeah, no. This is interesting because I never had 7s. I did 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s, and then I converged away from Jordans. It's interesting because I think we talked about it, was the design changed, and exactly what Joel said. The 4s are my ultimate, right? 5s are pretty close, 6s are there, but I reckon I brought pennies at this stage, and Hardaways. I brought a Hardaways about here. This would have been where it was.
And that's the thing, though, Paulie, is by that stage in this country, all the local shopping centres started to have trading card shops. You could buy NBA jerseys. They had sneakers, and there was a variety. So at that same time, around 92, Shaq was a rookie. You started getting options at different things. So that was why, it probably wasn't the fact that the 7, well, it was a combination of the 7.
A bit of both, choice.
And then you had a choice to go. Before it was like you have choices, begins, middles, and ends with MJs, and then you could go through and go this different direction. What you're saying though, Joel, is correct. Like there is a better colorway than the Bulls colorway. All the Olympic stuff was fantastic. I just think those brighter colors really lighten up the shoe because it's a little bit sort of like sleeker, like maybe a little bit underwhelming compared to some of the really notable design.
That's what I feel. Yeah.
But man, I would so cop whatever colorway of a 7 now. So hard. Like, gimme.
Yeah, and it looks actually heavy. That's a good point, Lukey. It looks like a heavy shoe with the dark black on this one, whereas the 6 looks so much sleeker. The other bit I wanted to mention before we move on was this was obviously there was a Huarache inspiration in here. Mm-hmm. So he says, I was just reading here, at the time Nike utilized the word Huarache. And Huarache was basically what we did. We took something and made it a minimalistic form from there. So that's what they did. They used the Huarache sort of silhouette and started from there. So you can sort of see it in that when you say that. So, spoiler on that one too. They won that year as well. There might be a reoccurring theme here. They won that one as well. So let's move on to the next year. So this was Bulls versus Suns. Joel, would you like to talk about the 8s, mate? They'll come up in a sec.
Yeah, never really been a fan of the 8s, to be honest. But it was an interesting time for fashion. I mean, this is when that whole sort of, bright colors and pretty crazy graphics was pretty popular. And some of the more traditional NBA teams were changing their logos to be something a little bit different, particularly Phoenix. I mean, they when they were playing with Charles Barkley, they had some pretty crazy uniforms, which have now since become pretty iconic for, remembering that time. But these ones, they almost look a bit comical to me. They've got the extra strap, double side. They've got that, fat man's chin thing happen on the heel. All those fat rolls. But just a really different design for the Jordans. So I've never had these on my list of wants. And if I was going to do it, I'd probably go for the playoff colorway. So I think this one he probably pulled out in the regular season a little bit more. But there's one with the so where it's aqua and blue in this model, it's more white and red. And if I was going to get any, that's probably the one I'd go for. But not high on my list. The 8s.
It's interesting. These ones in the research, they started to get more. I think they'd done 4s and 3s, and that was definitely the design. They'd gone away from that. They were really looking with Jordan. I'll just read you the Tinker Hatfield comment here, right? What we did was we used the notion of the straps on the forefoot to really keep him locked down. A lot of times you'll see a lot of players making really hard cuts, and the foot is likely sliding to the top of the foot frame. We used to try to keep Michael from doing that. So the straps on the Air Jordan 8 became a big story here. I think our sense of detail and not being afraid to use new colors was truly inspirational on the model. And again, really different from what we see in the marketplace. So I think, they've gone away. That they were starting to go, hey, what do we need to do here for him? And they were trying out a few things. It was really interesting. And we've talked about it before, you and I, Joel, is that that abstract Tinker Hatfield episode. They really talked about that. It was just all about all the little detail that we'll think is cool. It was all functional for him. It was really interesting. Yeah. Did you own these, Lukey?
No. They were probably my, out of the whole early run up to 15 or whatever, they're probably my least favourite. And they were just, I've never been a big fan of high tops. And these were undisputably like the sort of higher, because they were the focus on support. They had their extra eyelets. They had the carpet tongue. They had some different elements. And I have a really, really wide foot. So shoes that are sort of narrow and higher, I really struggle to get in. So that was always a challenge with those. But time heals. Well, the 93 series itself was fantastic. I remember so clearly watching that. And the Suns were a formidable opponent. It's interesting, all those moments in history. You know, the Suns had that game 6 in hand.
Yeah.
And the three-pointer was shot and they lost. And if you watch the play, it's because Barkley, who still says he did the right thing, went in and tried to steal the ball, which caused a defensive rotation. Bang, bang, bang. Horace Grant flicks it out. Paxson is wide open. Game over. Apart from what Michael did on the possessions before, Dan Marley airballed a jump shot. There's always it's like a plane crash. There's all these contributing factors, right? Yeah. But that series was that could have easily gone to a game 7 in Phoenix, and that would have been, you know, anyone's guess. Dumas wasn't high during that series, as far as we know. He played fantastic. Dan Marley was shooting with like current level range.
Steph Curry range. Yeah.
Yeah, he was shooting these hugely long jump shots and allegedly playing decent defense. Danny Ainge was playing well. They had and Barkley had an MVP season, so that was pretty much as close as you got to knocking off the Bulls. And it was as far as I'm concerned, and Barkley again defends himself. He blames a little bit on Danny Ainge not covering the rotation, whatever. If he hadn't gone for the steal, they would have stayed in a man-to-man. It would have been fine. If you watch Jordan's first season-ending jump shot against the Cavs, I never noticed till now. You watch Larry Nance. He ends up on the wrong side of Jordan. He's out to half court. What the hell are you doing out there? They're trying to define the ball. The common theme is defensive breakdowns. Now, you have to be a great offensive player to elude the defense, which he obviously is. But someone fucks up every time, and it's like they are trying so hard that Michael breaks their brain, and then they have a collapse. And
isn't it? Yeah, definitely. It's that almost forcing them to have to do something they wouldn't normally do.
Yeah,
and that sort of threw it.
Yeah, but always an overplay.
I will keep going because we're into a good conversation here. I will say last time they win that one as well. So look at that. That was a three-peat. If anyone hasn't watched those games, so I've just spoiled that. So I'm so sorry. All right, we know he has a bit of a retirement here, so obviously he goes away. They come back. Bulls going to play the Sonics in '95. Joel, talk me through these. I think you like these.
In 95, 96, Jordan wore the Concords for the Jordan 11s for the whole season, and then he converted to these breads right here. So the Tinker Hatfield story, Jordan came back. He was a little bit more of a sophisticated man, probably travelled around a little bit on the minor league baseball team bus, which he paid for, and no doubt installed a special cigar holder and whiskey holder, so he could just kind of, put his feet back and, put his suits on every now and then. And he wanted some sneakers that he could wear that looked good with his suits, as well as look good out on the basketball court, which is why we've got the patent leather, which is a much more obvious detail on the Concord than what it is on the breads. What I find interesting, nowadays, when even the younger generation talk about the Jordan collection, is that this shoe to them is the most iconic shoe. And just talking to you boys, growing up and being around through the first three-peats and experiencing, I won't call it the hype, but the phenomenon that kind of blew up in front of us about Jordan and what he was doing. Like, for me, there's more of romanticism about the 6s and maybe the 7s than what there is about these 11s.
Totally
But you know what Jordan and the Bulls did this in 1996 was unbelievable. 72 wins, backed it up with the championship. Yes, Gary Payton's got some things to say about locking him down in games 4 and 5, and if you had been on him from the start, that would have been a different series. But as we all know, Jordan was coming back, and he had a lot on his mind. And like usual, as chance has it, the game 6 just happened to fall on a defining moment, which was Father's Day.
Yes.
And it couldn't have been a more perfect way for him to welcome back a full return to the season and respect the moment, which was his first championship without his dad.
It fit into that fairy tale of, when you always look back, it's always good to have a story. We've talked about there's a whole lot of game. Did you ever have 11s, Luke? I keep asking that, and we keep getting a no.
No.
At least we're consistent here. That's doing well.
No, I didn't have. No, I didn't have 11s. We're coming up on a lot of territory, and we've skipped a few. So, yeah, I've got some 9s and some 10s, but nobody wants to talk about them. I've had them for quite a while. But no, not Concords. What are taxis? They're 12. 12. We'll get to that.
The next ones. Hey, we'll keep going. So we'll keep moving on. You said it before, Joel, about the 11 is the one that separates, I think, the older generation and the younger generation with Jordans. I actually was talking to someone yesterday, Ben, who will get on one of the killing the kicks. I was going to say spilling the kicks. It's a new show. Killing the 6. He just bought a pair of 5s, right? And I said, oh, they were one of my first Jordans. And he goes, oh no, mine were the 11s. And he's a bit of a younger gentleman. So yeah, it's an interesting sort of thing. That is that sort of point. Is these were the 4s and 5s for the younger generation. But I really like these. Which one do you like better, Joel? Which is your favourite 11?
I think the most iconic one is the Concorde, right? I mean, I think when you go back to the original design, the white with the black patent leather is the colour combo that really set it off. And also, it was the one that they played the whole season in. And I think from memory, it's the first time Jordan wore the same shoe all year. Yeah. Like, as in,
yeah, he didn't do that. He didn't do that All-Star game.
As in, didn't swap it at the All-Star game.
Yeah.
All right. We will move on in the interest of time. I know we're running short here, which we always do. It's a good, really interesting chat. All right, let's do 97, Bulls versus Jazz, the first of the 2 Bulls versus Jazz series. Obviously, we're up to the 12s. Lukey, do you want to take the 12s away, my man?
I love 12s.
Mm-hmm. Backseat.
The thing about it is I didn't always love 12s. So back in the years 2002-ish, taxis came out at Foot Locker in Brisbane. I don't know why they came out in that year, but that's when they turned up. And I went in and I didn't buy a pair because I couldn't afford a pair straight away. I lay-byed them. But the reason that I was inspired to buy them was Nas's wife, or was it ex-wife, Khalees, was in the store. She was performing and she was in there. So she was in there buying J's and I got hyped and I bought some taxis. Then, after about 6 months, I converted them to lawn mowing shoes.
Oh my God! Taxi lawn mowing shoes.
Yeah, they were taxi lows, and they had the gold details and everything, and they were really nice. Yeah. I did a video today, episode 49, and we'll do something special for 50 tomorrow. And I did mention these. They didn't have Jordans; they had Addy Zeros on there that were beating the hell because I was in my office and it was a pair of shoes that was sitting there. The point is, don't do that. Like, if you have shoes and you grow tired of wearing them, just put them to the side. Don't start painting in them, or don't start have shoes, cheap shoes for that, and keep Like, I've wrecked Iversons, I've wrecked everything over the years, and I regret it so hard because they were such good shoes. So, I've told the guys, 2 pairs of Prestos, all these different, like, Derrick Rose shoes, all this crazy shit that you can't get now because I'm like, yeah, I've worn these a few times. They got a scuff from me diving on the floor in a game. I'll convert them to painting the swimming pool in them. Like, it's absolutely nuts. Yeah. Don't do it, kids.
What do you mean? This is all Joel wear. This is all Joel's got to do the lawn in, mate. Isn't that right, Joel?
Joel doesn't do his own lawn. What the fuck?
I have 1 pair of hiking shoes, and that's what I use to do anything.
Yeah.
Everything else stays in a box.
That's the way to do it. That's
what about 12s? Tell me your 12.
Right. So 2 points on the 12s. 1, I think this is the first time where the designer's ideas really started to take over the athlete's ideas. And I know everything was Tinker prior to that, but you think about who this guy was. Before he was a shoe designer, he was a trained architect. And what you're looking at here is the most sophisticated, sleek design and something that's incredibly unique. That paneling that's on the side of it, and the way it cuts into the contrast between the black and the red on the food poisoning game shoes that we were just looking at there, and also the reverse of that in the taxis. It's just such a powerful looking shoe. Like the stance that it has on the court is just like something we had never seen before. And I remember when I first saw it, I just went, could not believe it. It was just the most, incredibly designed shoe. And I've always loved the 12s. It's always been the shoe that, I've held out as the best design shoe. Not the most wearable shoe. Yeah. Like if you're thinking about some of the most wearable shoes, there'll be some of the earlier ones. And then there was another point I was going to make about it, but my memory fails me.
How many 12s have you got?
I've got two. So I've got the flu game, the food poisoning game.
Yeah.
And I've got the that's the same shoe, listeners. And I've got the taxis, the full height.
Yeah, you've got the right
non-lawn mowing type. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say. For me, there was an ad that came out during the year that Jordan wore the taxis. You guys are going to remember this, right? So it starts out a whole bunch of viewers from a whole different set of locations around the world watching television screens.
Yeah.
The ball's about to be inbound and Jordan's playing against the Lakers. Jerome Kersey's out on the court defending Michael Jordan. Jordan gets the ball, double plant on his catch as he spins to face the basket out from the three-point line, and everything freezes. The whole world freezes while they're watching the TVs, because at this stage in his career, we all know, right? And this was the most amazing commercial for me. It's like, this is the commercial that describes best what it feels like to watch Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And then they play it out in the commercial. He does this incredible spin move. He turns, he dunks the ball. Like someone's sink floods while this is all happening. Like some dude's watching it on his treadmill. That's what it felt like. And it was just like Nike just captured the moment. Like, this is what it feels like watching Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think these were good. I like how that's now the pizza game instead of the flu game, Joel. I think that's what we need to change it.
Pizza game.
Okay, so let's do our last final series here, boys. So this was 98. This was Bulls Jazz round 2. This has got some interesting stuff here, Joel. I'll get you to lead this off. We'll start with the Jordan 13.
Yeah, this was an interesting season for the shoes, actually, because Jordan wore the 13s the whole season. So he obviously likes them. And for me, they're actually one of the most comfortable Jordans to play in. They're just a really well supported shoe and just a really good, stable base. It's one of the first times they've got that lateral movement covered in a Jordan shoe. So I love playing in these, and obviously he did too. So just there are some similarities. It's all just pointing it out. But as he went into the finals, he kind of mixed and matched between these 13s and the 14s. So a lot of people think that, a lot of people think that he wore the 13s the whole way through the finals. But the 14s made an appearance in only 3 games. He played in game 3, game 4, and Game 6 in the 14s, and obviously the Game 6 one is the reason why the 14 is called the last shot, which makes sense. So in my mind, like Jordan always did, he kind of knew that there was a moment that he needed to sort of mark with a new pair of shoes. So he wore the 14s, and they'll forever go down in history as the most beautiful 42 seconds of basketball ever, where one man took over everything and just decided to win the whole championship.
You're talking about Karl Malone. We're talking about him.
No one in any of the reviews that I watch about the end of that game talk about how comical it was that Karl Malone fell on his face.
Oh.
Like, it's a moment that needs to be marked in history. Not only did Jordan steal the ball, the other superstar on the other team fell on his face.
Oh, there's a whole lot of that when, Jordan gets him from behind with that double team, but how he's been doing it all series and this
awesome
celebration. Hey, Lukey, 13s and 14s. What can you sum these up in, my man?
Well, the steal was there the whole time, and he knew he was going to need it, so he saved it.
He was waiting for it.
He was.
Insane. To have that level of thinking is really makes me feel like a damn fool. But I prefer the 13s over the 14s. The thing about the 14 that's interesting is they're commonly, referenced as being Ferraris because of the Scuderia shield where the Jordan logo sits on the side. But I don't know, and I haven't looked into it, so hopefully if someone has, we'll find out. But if you try to pull that shit today, you would get sued so hard. Ferrari are very protective of everything they do and all their brands and everything, and they do all sorts of crazy shit to try and protect the image and send out loaded cars and all sorts of different things.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, everything they do is according to them. They don't allow this, that, and the other. They're very contrived with the way they go about business. So I don't know that you'd ever get an opportunity to do that again. But look, you can see the 13s are still with the previous, like the classic line. So it sort of goes 1 to 13. 14's borderline, and shit's about to start getting crazy. Is that true? Or?
It gets dark from about here, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does start getting a little bit. We start getting a little bit. MJ's leaving planet Earth, and everything starts getting a little bit weird. So some colorways, last shot and everything's not bad. But I mean, why has the tongue got a little pipe on the top of it?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
that's a bit too arts and crafts for me. That feature.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, good first segment, gentlemen. That was excellent. We'll start segment 2 in a second, but I'm going to hand over to Texas Chainsaw. No, I'm not. I'm going to hand over to Freddie from Creased Up Kicks.
All right. Hey, guys. So I'm Fred from Creased Up Kicks and Soul Assist. I'm just going to be doing the releases for this podcast today. So first of all, we have a Dunk High, which will be a general release, so it should be fairly easy to get. So the Dunk High is called the Dunk High Crimson. It's a all-white upper with red swoosh and red sole and small red accents all over the shoe. The shoe features cream and white paneling as well. This one's set to release on the 1st of June, but some skate stores in Melbourne have released it early by accident. So these are set to release on 1st of June in your local skate stores. So stores like Fast Times, UPS, Passport, whatever skate stores are local to you. So I'd recommend calling them up, going in store on the 1st of June, checking it out, whether they have it or not. But yeah, they should be fairly easy to get, and they retail for $160. So it's fairly cheap. They should be very easy to get as long as you're there at the right time. Recommend if you're looking to flip these, any size should be fine. Maybe go for your bigger sizes, but if they're personal, recommend going true to size because that's how they fit. Or maybe even a half size up since it's an SB with a puffy tongue. Next release for today is the Yeezy Movement Black 700. So it's the second iteration of the Yeezy 700. Sorry, the third iteration. And it's a triple black pair. So it's an all black 700 with the 700 writing across the panel on the upper, and it features a mesh upper as well. So it's a new model, a new design. So it's going to be quite popular and quite in demand. So definitely recommend trying to hop on Yeezy Supply when it drops, and Adidas on June 6th. And they have dropped on Yeezy Supply already. So it should just be Adidas for now. Or maybe in-store could be a possible in-store release. But for now, it's been fairly unexpected with Corona season, obviously. So these will retail at $380, your standard Yeezy 700 price. I mean, if you're looking to flip these, go for your smaller sizes. Or if you're going for personal, just go true to size. They fit true to size. And they should be very hard to cop, but always try your luck, go for the drop. And also enter raffles for stores that do raffles. Next up, we have the Nike SB Dunk Laser Orange. So this one, even though it's called Laser Orange, features a Lakers colorway with yellow panels and red, purple swoosh and purple inner sock liner. So these will be a UPS raffle, which will be drawn on 2 days from now. So on Sunday. So the raffle probably would have closed by now, but they will be releasing in other stores overseas for raffles and shock drops online. So make sure you check your Dunk retailers, especially your skate stores, because they'll most likely drop them for shock drop as well. And lastly, we have the Jordan 1 Mid Smoke Gray, which is being restocking in stores in the city. So I recommend, if you're in Melbourne, check your local city stores or whatever local Nike store you have. As well as Fire Red. They also have Fire Reds have also been restocking in local stores, so definitely check that out. They should be fairly easy to get, so recommend calling up your local Nike store before you go. They should have Fire Reds there in GS sizes and men's sizes. And there are some shoes like DMPs as well, which are restocking in stores. So definitely make sure you call up your local Nike, Foot Locker, JD, because they'll all be putting out stock slowly on shelves for you guys to cop, since they haven't been able to sell them during lockdown. So that's it for this week, and I'll see you guys next week. At the moment, just give us a follow at sol.assist. We give you all the info you need to buy these shoes and all the resale predictions, pre-orders, all these shoes. So if you want them, come to us. We also help you guys with your reselling accounts and pretty much help you guys how to flip shoes. So it's a mastermind group and it's a community as well. That's sol.assist on Instagram. And of course, my main reselling page, Creased Up Kicks. If you guys need these shoes, I will always be getting them in. I'll have them in different sizes, maybe only one size, depending on how we go. But yeah, most of the shoes you guys need, we have it sizes 7 all the way up to 13. So if you guys need something, just hit us up, and we're always happy to hook you up with your sneakers. That's it for today, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right. Thank you, Freddie. Thanks again. Always very informative. All right, boys, we're going to do a segment 2 now, where we're going to look at some other players. We'll do a bit quicker. We might tic-tac through these. So I'll get one of you to comment on these, and we'll just go through the next 6. I picked 6. There were some I'll give you some of the people who missed out. So the Hershey Hawkins filler missed out. Sorry, Lukey, that didn't make the last 6 that I'm going to have a look at. The New Balance Dennis Rodmans didn't make it either. The ones who wore at the Pistons. I thought they were an interesting thing, but they finished late out. Phil Jackson even got a mention here. The Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star high tops he was wearing. And the other one that missed out was the Adidas Kobe 8s. The Crazy 8. So they all missed out. Yeah, they were the ones we didn't pick. So, hey, Lukey, I'm going to get you to start off. We're going to do a Nike Air Zoom Challenge. Tell me who wore these and how good were these?
Nike Air Zoom Challenge. Is that a penny or is that?
No. Okay, so this is John Stockton. Tell me what you think about these.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that's not dissimilar to the Zoom Air 96 over there. Yeah. Look, for Stockton, that's hot fire. Really, like that's not too bad. That's a pretty aggressive Stockton colorway. I wouldn't think Stockton would be playing. I wouldn't think Stockton would be coming at you. Like there's at least, according to Greg, there's at least 3 colors on that shoe.
3 colors, he'll kill you with it.
Yeah. So I really can't. I need to look at I'm pretty sure Stockton's wearing Birkenstocks in the Dream Team poster over there. Yeah, no, that's
Army made him a pair of sneakers.
That's peak Stockton. But I mean, you know, Stockton, I still think to this day is horrifically underrated for his ability to do everything.
As a player, phenomenally. Hey, you want to know the best thing about these, Luke? These are actually tennis shoes. These are Andre Agassi tennis shoes.
Oh, well, that explains a bit. I mean, Agassi was there should be, if they're Agassi's, there should be some fluoro on them at least. Agassi was a colourful guy.
Totally different colorway, but he was a very, like you said, I think this was the least colorway he could find.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what he wore. Hey, okay, number 2 on our 6 other players. Let's have a look at these, Joel. Tell me what you think about these, my man. These are interesting. I love these.
Oh, wow. These the mailman does not deliver on Sunday. Apex.
Yes.
Were these the only, I don't actually even recall these, but were these the only shoes that Karl Malone wore, his own signature shoes?
I don't know either. I just saw these. I thought they were interesting.
These were signature as well.
Yeah, right. These are pretty consistent with the times, right? The chunkiest shoe you could imagine for a guy who was built for the young kids, for the young listeners, about twice as large as LeBron James. So, you know, you needed a pair of shoes that was going to give him the stability to be able to run in straight lines and cut through the pick and roll with Stockton.
Yeah.
More assists for you, more points for me. Great little setup they had going.
You're going to get the retro edition if they ever come out?
Those shoes are just absolute trash, and we all know it. I mean, Lukey's little description of those Stockton shoes is far more accurate. They're a much more exciting shoe than this thing.
At least they were Nike, right? These Apex there.
Apex.
Imagine how many Apex.
One hit wonder.
Yeah, they kind of sold a lot of Apex. That's
right.
But
you see a bit of this going on today. You know, these little shoemakers just trying to steal a bit of the market.
Yeah,
just pop up for a moment and then disappear.
Yeah, and we could talk about them, right? We've talked about that stuff before. Some of these things are actually, because they're cheaper, everyone thinks they're crapper, but some of these are actually all right. But we can talk about that another day. All right, we're going to keep moving in the interest of time. Hey, Lukey, I've got something special for you. I'm going to make it rain for you, mate. I'm going to make it rain.
I'm excited.
Ooh, yeah.
Tell me about these.
Excited.
So jealous.
Oh, well, that's a Kamikaze 1, isn't it?
Yes, this is the one.
Yeah, so that's the Kamikaze 1. The Kamikaze 2 is probably a little bit better, a little bit cooler. This is a little bit more rudimentary. But, I mean, one of the most underrated players of all time. He had his flaws. I love that the Rain Man used to do the social basketball move of he'd miss a layup and then deliberately try and strip the guy that got the rebound and he'd get a foul.
Yeah.
He used to do it out of frustration all the time, and then he'd have to sit down because he'd have 2 fouls in the first quarter from doing that shit. But, he was second to none athletically at his size. He developed killer jump shot in the mid to long range. Just inside the 3-point line, he was. And the way he moved, the way he got up to block shots and all sorts of things, and the hard times. He was a handful in that series in 96. He was an absolute handful. They were he's borderline MVP of that final series. He was absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, Sean has had some personal problems and everything, but he's turns out he's a really fantastic guy, and he's done a lot for the city of Seattle, even continues to this day and everything. And I've been a lifelong Sean Kemp fan. So if he ever wants to come on the pod, over the 3-hour podcast, open invitation, I've got to be on the show.
Definitely. It's yours. You can take it.
Good call.
The one exciting thing about those, Luke, they might be making a return. 2s, I think it is, actually.
I'm there. Yeah. I'm there. Give me the song.
2s, not the 1s. I'm there. The 2's in June. Is it June or July?
June.
Yep. But there you go, Luke. And that feeds into our Reebok. Hey, we've got to get going with Reebok, right? And Adidas stuff.
Reebok's the next thing for us.
Definitely. And that's a good segue into the next shoe for you, Luke, Joel. Tell me about these if you know what these are. Let's just say they had a moment in the sun. No, that's not them.
Well, that's a lovely shoe, and I can
Actually,
name
leave
that shoe.
Actually, let's leave that.
I have done my homework.
Yeah, leave it up. Let's go this one. Sorry, I was thinking of another one. Go.
So this shoe, because I'm so familiar with these, Paulie, is called the Nike Air Height Up Tempo, which Scottie Pippen wore when he returned from surgery at the start of the 1998 season.
You've done your research. Good work.
Which, as Michael Jordan quite rightly put, but as we know, has quite upset Scotty. He was selfish. He was selfish to take that time off. But it turns out, I mean, perhaps this is just Scotty's version of player management, right? Bit of time off, getting him ready for the back half of the season. Yeah. I mean, he's the only guy who'd done 8 title runs. We talk about whether the Bulls could have achieved 8 in a row. Scotty was putting the effort in that whole time.
He was the only one
tired.
who played the course. Yeah.
He needed a break.
Hey, these are the most unknown of the Pippen range, aren't they? None of us knew.
I didn't know what they were.
Yeah, until we dug into these are definitely the most unknown. That's why I thought I pulled them up. He's obviously got a whole lot of other ones, but that was an interesting one that we saw in a few of the episodes. All right, I got 2 left here, and I know we've got to get going faster because I'm definitely getting a wind-up. All right, this is what I meant to say, Lukey. This is for you. This is something in our new line. Tell me about these. These had a moment in the sun. Look, I'll use my same joke.
They had more than one moment in the sun. These were popular shoes. These were popular shoes in Australia. They got Hexalite. They got Pump. These are the Omni pumps. Black colorway, white colorway, orange basketball, whatever you want. Team colorway. I mean, I had teammates that wore them. I had a pair. D Brown won the dunk contest in these. John Paxson wore them in the finals. Like this is iconic. This shoe. I think the design's fantastic. Yeah. They're pretty minimalist as far as pump goes. I've got some pumps, and they need their own postcode. These aren't quite as bad.
These only have the pump just in the tongue.
It's the tongue, and it has a little flap, so it's like a tongue that's wide, and then it looks like a female hygiene product, essentially. Okay. That's how it works, and it's just that so the pipes don't run into the shoe anywhere else, and the release is on the tongue, but they were heavy, but they weren't as heavy as some of the others. And stylistically, I think they're fantastic. And they've re-released those over the years so many times. They were really exceptional.
Definitely. Hey, we won't talk much about Reebok today, but we're definitely going to do a bit more on Reebok. And that's one of the ones we've talked about that they need to retro and redo. Okay. Hey, Joel, you're going to bring us home. I've got a weapon for you to finish off. Look at that. There's my segues. I'm doing all right with my segues. I've got a weapon for you, actually. I had jumped in and out. So, so obviously the Converse weapon here, I wanted to focus on this one.
Got it.
You all know who this one was?
Yep. This was the staple shoe of everyone who wasn't Michael Jordan or wasn't thinking that they could be. And kind of was some kind of tribute to every player who was somebody back in the 80s. So you boys will remember, and anyone of our vintage will, that there was an ad that ran with Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson. I'm just going to call out some names. Kevin McHale was in there.
Bernard King and Mark Aguirre.
Oh, there you go.
Mark Aguirre. I
wanted the Mark Aguirre so desperately. You could never get it.
The first famous 23.
Yeah.
What I always found fascinating was that Larry Bird wore the black version of these.
Yes.
And that was quite adventurous for him. But
he didn't need to look any slower.
Yeah, he always looks slow. These
were good. I actually I ended up getting the Magic ones, and I never wore them because I just couldn't stomach them. They're so. I actually got a full yellow one. That one
Heavy,
has
just
white,
too heavy, yeah?
that has white in the middle patching. My one was full yellow. I don't know. Mine was probably a rip-off because I always wanted the Mark Aguirre because it was a bit more understated.
Yeah,
That was
right.
green. But yeah, they've got a low cut in those, and I reckon the low cut is well underrated as a Converse. There you go, Reebok, Converse, Adidas. We're going to bring you back because you freaking need to come back. Oh, Converse we can't because Nike owns them anyway. We're screwed.
Yeah, the monopoly.
Reebok and Adidas, hey, we're coming for you. All right, so that was some other players with some memory lane stuff for us. I think the Reebok pumps are our favourite.
Agreed. Kamikazes.
Definitely.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
Other than
Alright.
an Adidas Stan Smith, the Reebok pump,
Right.
that Omni is probably the only non-Jordan or Nike shoe I'd get.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh,
that's a
Paul.
big-
Let's
that's
get him a pair
big-
for Christmas.
I don't even feel ashamed to say that.
Let's finish off, boys, with the third segment we talked about, other Jordan. So I've got, let me see, 1, 2, 3 here I want to talk about. And then we'll finish with an iconic, and we'll wrap it up in a nice, neat bow with a last shot from you, Joel. So get ready, mate. We're going to pass to you. All
42
right.
seconds left. Let's go.
No, 44. We're going to make it a bit different. We can't be the same. All right. So I want to start off. I want to go way back to one of the first shoes Jordan was wearing way back in college. Let's pull these up, Joel. Do you remember these?
Ooh, these are the Converse Leather Pro or Pro Leather.
Yeah, Pro Leather.
Yeah. So this is the University of North Carolina days, 1982. Jordan hitting we'll call it the last shot, but the last play actually happened where one of the Georgetown boys just passed it straight to the North Carolina boys, and the game was over. But we'll give Jordan credit for knocking down the shot and becoming the man that he is today.
Was that Eric Sleepy Floyd that passed the ball to the wrong guy?
Why not? Why
Might
not?
have been.
Yeah.
Wasn't him and Patrick Ewing were the only two there, right?
Yeah, that's right. To one of the North Carolina's very loaded basketball team of Sam Perkins, James Worthy, Kenny the Jet, or the prop playing Smith, and Michael Jordan.
They had a terrible team. How do you reckon you go playing in these, Joel?
Oh man, could you imagine? This would be like Michael Jordan's experience wearing the Jordan 1s in Madison Square Garden for his final appearance there, where he dropped 42 points on the Knicks, and he ended up with blood saturated in the front of his socks. Yeah, painful.
I looked them up. I looked these up.
Straight
you
up
can't
painful.
actually buy these. You can't buy this style. There's one that's pretty close you can buy, and they're really cheap, but it's not this one. And wouldn't this be the one to bring out now if you're Converse? Which they probably will.
Now it would be. Like,
do
now
it a little bit more.
Now would be the time.
Do it a little bit more cooler. What do you reckon? Do you reckon it looks like also that it's definitely that Converse silhouette, isn't it? Almost a Chuck Connors looking.
Chuck Connors. Chuck Connors person.
Chuck Taylor.
Is he a tennis player?
Chuck Connors. No, it's the martial arts version.
He's a martial arts dude.
Yeah. Chuck Taylor, the Chuck Taylor. It looks like that. It's that iconic Converse, isn't it? But they're all wearing it at that time. Look.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I'm just gonna sit here until you get to some shoes that aren't crap.
Oh. We're doing some other Jordan stuff. These are interesting. Hey, let's bring up the next one then. So this was something that was shown on one of the things. This was an unreleased Jordan. So Max will bring this one up. So this one goes, they were in 98 finals. They were going through a shoot-around at the beginning of episode 10. And in this footage, you've seen rocking this black and white casual sneaker. They were saying that the Jordan brand had only just separated from Nike the year prior. So this sneaker is a Michael Jordan exclusive. They didn't give a name to it, but it looks very, very casual, doesn't it, for a shoot-around shoe, Luke?
When I saw those shoes, I really tried hard to quantify it and think, hey, whatever. Obviously, like, you just have a bit of more relaxed fit on your shoes. You're out there shooting around. You don't need to go and put a full performance shoe on, get your foot in. They're probably a bit swollen, some bunions on there. But these are bowling shoes. They are absolutely. And then you got those white socks, and the whole thing was just a mess. And MJ, I mean, say what you want about MJ, and of course I am wearing this double extra large button-up shirt due to the COVID diet. But MJ's got some funny fashion beliefs. I gotta say, I love him, but he wears some weird shit. This is an extension of that. So if they built it because he wanted to wear, the basketball equivalent of a bow tie, then
that's what they are. You know where these fit in, Joel? These fit in down in Fitzroy Street.
Oh, no doubt.
We could put these on Fitzroy Street.
These just look like one of the first Jordan branded things that rolled off the factory line, and he was just a bit hyped and wanted to put them on. But
I don't reckon it was anything other like that. I reckon he had a pair of samples wherever he was. He was probably in his hotel or just grabbed them and said, fuck, I'm just going to shoot around. I'm just going to shoot around in these and see how that. I don't think it was anything, but imagine that, just having a pair of shoes that never came out.
You weren't watching very closely. Michael never, ever, ever just goes, fuck it, I'll just. That was never in the vernacular. He's not like
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they were probably trying him in a shootout. It was probably it was probably like on a Tuesday or something like that.
Oh, no.
Look at the photo we've got. The photo
it was hyped about the check. It was hyped about the check.
That's it.
He said, I'll take the check.
He expected them to sell 1 million, and they ended up selling 5. That's MJ.
So speaking of, here's a really good segue for you, Luke, that he never does anything that's uncalculated. So the last one of these sort of other Jordans I want to talk about, it's called Air Jordan 1 Center Courts. Now we'll bring the picture up. So these were actually what he was wearing doing all his interviews.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So look at these. Now, if you're talking about something so let me just give you this. So it's got a midsole of the Air Jordan 1 with a leather upper reminiscent of the Nike Blazer Low or an Adidas Stan Smith. There's that word again. The heel appears to utilize the Wings logo that is prominent in the Jordan 1s and Jordan 2s. So this looks like a bit of a hybrid. It's never been released to the public. What odds this comes out? What odds this comes out soon?
No, something very close has been released. Something very, very close to that has been available on the market because I have clicked through that rubbish every time I do a search on East Bay for the last 10 years. There is something not dissimilar to that junk that's been doing the rounds. So, that's an outlet shoe if ever I saw one.
Next to your colorways, right? Next to your.
That's it. Next to the Joyrides.
Right. Yeah. What do you think about those, Joel? I reckon they're not too bad from the grainy picture we see.
No, not for me.
Don't you like the mix and match of the Jordan 1 and all of that, the Stan Smith?
No, I mean, I think as a younger guy, Jordan was absolutely deserved the credit as being a trendsetter. So baggy shorts weren't worn before Jordan came along, and the whole red and black and. Yeah. He changed the whole thing, but he stopped being a trendsetter. All you need to do is look at some photos of those ridiculously baggy jeans at the awards ceremony. At the parade in Chicago, up on the stage. Like, that is just if you want to get a good interpretation of what it feels like to witness Michael Jordan's fashion, look up some YouTube videos of his children talking about what a dork their dad is.
Yeah. He's horrible. I don't know. I thought that was your marketing there, right? They've got these on, they're never there. Something will come out. That could be the dad Father's Day.
The dads will love them.
Dad Father's Day release.
What about the revelation in the docu-series about the kids? I was aware of the sons, and especially the older son, because he's got the shoe room and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he's closed it now. It's all online.
Mm.
You guys, were you au fait with the daughter? Did you know
Jasmine? Jasmine makes an appearance in Rare Air.
I didn't
the little coffee table book.
Yeah.
I have 2 copies.
A good one.
Someone gave it to him. Someone gave it to him. It's amazing.
Paul gave me a copy of Rare Air. It's a wonderful gift. I appreciate it, Paul. Thank you.
That's a really wonderful gift. I've got Rare Air here. It's got cockroaches have crawled through it because I think it's
second one's always better than the first too. Hey,
you missed my point completely, Joel. I wasn't looking for 19.
I heard you, and I just went
Rare Air.
Because we're in Rare Air today because we're well over an hour today. So hey, I want to finish off with probably the most iconic Jordan that I like, and something that probably started my love of sneakers. Let's bring these up. And I know someone on here that might have both of these. Let's bring these up, Maxi. And he hates when I say let's bring them up, Maxi. So come on, Maxi, get them up.
Pressure for the kid.
I know, he's all over the place.
This.
He's probably had to go put someone to bed or something like that. Well,
he's been on it all night.
He's making TikTok videos.
All right,
Superstar.
Joel.
Yeah.
Joel, walk us through these, Jolie.
Oh, man. I don't know what to say about the fives. I mean, the fives, I mean, to be honest, I kind of bounce around between the threes, the fours, the fives, the sixes. Yep. But the fives, there's just something incredible about these things. I think, you know, the style around that ankle and the Spitfire-inspired design. For me, this one was the first one that really like blew the lid on what I thought about sneakers. And I've talked about it in a little video that I put up on YouTube when I got 3 pairs of these things. But when I stayed up late at night to try and beat the bots, one of my good mates at school, a good basketball rival, had a pair, and I think, you know, a lot of people have got similar stories. These were the shoes to get, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't get some of the shoes in the years after this. Yeah. But that one and the black metallic for me are just
black is
mind-blowing shoes. Mind-blowing shoes.
Right, they're the two, and that's what
they still are. There's nothing like it today. Nothing like it. Like many of the Jordans, you know, like the 12s, like we were talking about before, the 6s. And for me, you guys, I'll say it bluntly, most of the basketball shoes today, they all look like each other.
Yep.
You go back and you look through this history, and you go, there ain't no shoe that looks like these.
Ooh.
These are
my lawn. Stay off my lawn.
These are the fives you get, wouldn't you, Lukey? You'd get a pair of these or something.
What are you talking about? You know I got a pair of these. You know I got the.
I'm trying to lead you in here. Look at that. I'm trying to bring you in. So I've already got them.
Speaking about marketing opportunities, if someone wants to give me 2 bands for those fives worn by Neymar, you can have them. They are unworn to this point. So still haven't worn them. 2 bands. You got until the end of the week.
We're turning into an infomercial. Hey,
that's it.
We certainly are. With Lukey, every time
2 racks.
And we're going to throw in free steak knives. All right. Yeah, look, I think I played in fives. These were my favourite of these to play in. I reckon, like you said, Joel, fours are amazing to look at. Didn't play as well. Fives were probably the best to ever want to play in. I had both white and black, and I think I will eventually get these another day, but not right now.
Affluent Melbourne suburbs with the kids with multiple Jordan colorways.
I say I had 4s, 5s, 4, 5s, and 6s, and then I stopped. No, and then I had to go to Penny's and Barclays. Hey, thank you, gentlemen. We're not going to do a rate, hate, and debate because we're a little bit over time, and I got a producer here with steam coming out of his ears. He keeps telling me to move on. Thank you very much. Any 10 seconds, Luke? 10 seconds wrap up.
It's tempting to compare eras, but there is no comparison. I've got some recent footage of the years 2000s to 2004, that era of NBA basketball. I converted some VHSs to DVD, and quite frankly, it's shit. So the 90s is where it's at. It's where it's going to be for a long time, and everyone's going to say, you know, they're going to have their own opinion on that sort of thing. But I think it's probably factual that they were the times, and MJ, Fear 33, all those things, and have a nice day.
Beautiful. Joel, last words on the last dance?
Well, because we talked about the last dance tonight, and this has been a really fun segment. Thank you, Maxi and Paulie, for organising it. You know, there's something about understanding what it felt like to go through it. And for all the old blokes who listen to this, what you don't pick up when you watch some old YouTube videos and you marvel at Michael Jordan and all of the players of that time is you don't get to experience the context of how it was changing and how the whole, you know, the game and the excitement and the tension of looking forward to the finals and looking forward to all of these experiences. And The Last Dance as a docu-series really explained that excitement more than we have been able to see more recently. So if you haven't watched it, go and watch it, because it helps you to understand not just the style of play, which is what we often compare between eras, but actually the context, what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
You know, because everything that happens before enables us to build on that today. And the reason we have a great NBA today is because of what happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
So, you know, respect all round for those guys, as well as the talent that exists today. But for us, you know, we were there to witness it.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly right. This is our genesis to all of this stuff. And I think that Last Dance, as you've seen how easily we've all just talked about it, you know, we've almost gone an hour and a half quite comfortably. We've had to cut it back because this is the stuff that we grew up with. And, you know, ending on a 6 is just where we all started. I think it's been really good. And again, we do need to thank Max. He didn't want to do this, but we made him do it. So thank you, Max. And if you got this far, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching. Lots of other stuff that we've got going on at the moment. Luke's got his stuff out. Joel's about to bring some stuff out. With people killing the kids.
No, shit. Don't. Cut that out.
You need to cut that out, Max. And I'm stealing the kicks with people. We'll see you later. I'll fix it up.